The boy's voice cracked as he ran across the dusty plateau, breathless, his small boots kicking up clouds behind him. My mommy is tied to a rock in the hot sun. Please, help her. Jesse McBride, who had been watering his sorrel mare beside the canyon edge, jerked his head up. At first he saw nothing but the wavering heat rising from red stone, the sky too bright to look at for long. Then the boy came fully into view, tiny, maybe 7, trembling, sweat running down his temples. His dark braids slapped against his cheeks as he stumbled to a stop, panting. Jesse swung into the saddle without a question. Show me. The boy turned and sprinted back the way he'd come. Jesse dug in his heels, and the mare surged forward, following the child across the scattered sagebrush. The air shimmered like molten glass, and the wind did nothing to ease the heat. The boy kept glancing over his shoulder to make sure the cowboy was still behind him. Who did this? Jesse called as the ground began to rise. White men, the boy gasped. 3 of them. They grabbed her when my uncle wasn't looking. They said she stole their horses. She didn't. She was just gathering plants. His voice cracked under the strain of both fear and fury. Jesse swore under his breath. He knew this land. He knew the people who lived here, Apache families who came season after season, hunting deer, gathering roots, tending traditions older than anything the new settlements could claim. Horse thieves didn't tie people to rocks to bake in the sun. Trouble-seeking men, drunk on power, might. They crested the ridge, and the boy pointed with a desperate cry. A wide slab of sandstone jutted from the ground like the back of some ancient beast. At its base, a woman sat upright, her wrists bound behind her with rawhide, a strip of cloth tied around her mouth. Her gaze met the boy's first, then found Jesse on the horse. Her dark eyes burned, not with fear, but with a fierce, exhausted defiance. Jesse dismounted before the mare, even stopped moving. He knelt beside her, cutting the bindings with his hunting knife. The rawhide fell away, leaving angry red marks on her skin. She sagged forward, but he caught her gently, lifting the cloth from her mouth. The boy dropped to his knees beside her. Mommy, I found help. I told you I would. She breathed shakily, then touched her son's cheek. You were brave, little hawk. Her voice was hoarse, dry as gravel. She turned to Jesse, struggling to sit straighter. Thank you, cowboy. Name's Jesse, he said, passing her his canteen. She drank slowly, her hands trembling. You're safe now. But tell me, where'd those men go? She handed the canteen back and shaded her eyes to look toward the horizon. They rode that way, toward the old mission ruins. Jesse followed her gaze. The ruins lay only a couple miles east, crumbling adobe walls where drifters sometimes camped. If those men were hiding out there, they couldn't be allowed to keep causing trouble. I'm going after them, he said. The boy clutched his mother's arm. Don't leave us. They might come back. Jesse shook his head. Not if I make sure they can't. The woman's eyes narrowed like steel. Then we go too. Jesse opened his mouth to protest, but the determination in her posture stopped him. She had suffered enough already. Leaving her afraid on the open plain would be its own cruelty. He nodded. Stay close behind me. They moved carefully, Jesse on horseback, the woman and boy walking beside him until she regained enough strength to ride behind Jesse for part of the way. She introduced herself as Tazini and her son as Little Hawk. She spoke little as they traveled, conserving her energy, but Jesse sensed a storm of anger under her calm surface. By the time they neared the ruins, the day had darkened to a deeper orange. Shadows stretched long across the sand, sharp and thin like blades. Jesse raised a hand. Quiet now. They crept forward. The old mission stood crooked against the sky, its once white walls now cracked and sun-eaten. A faint flicker of movement drifted from inside, the unmistakable glow of a campfire. Little Hawk's eyes widened with rage. Tazini placed a steadying hand on his shoulder, whispering in Apache, and the boy quieted. Jesse tied his mare behind a clump of rock, then motioned for them to stay down. He moved like a shadow toward the ruined doorway. Inside, he saw them. 3 men lounged around the fire, dusty, unshaven, their rifles propped against a broken pillar. Empty whiskey bottles glinted near their boots. One of them, a big man with a scar across his lip, laughed as he kicked dirt into the flames. Should have left that woman out there longer, he bragged. Teach her people not to meddle with what ain't theirs. Jesse's jaw tightened. Another man spat. We ain't riding out till morning. Sun'll be down soon. Nobody's out here anyway. You'd be surprised, Jesse muttered as he stepped into the open. The men jerked to their feet, hands flying to their guns. Jesse lifted his own revolver first, steady and unflinching. Drop him, he said. Now. Scarlip snarled. Cowboy, you don't know who you're pointing at. I know exactly, Jesse replied. Men who tied an innocent woman to a rock. Before the standoff could break, a small voice rang out behind Jesse. You hurt my mother. Little Hawk had slipped past Tazzini's grasp, fury blazing in his eyes. The men blinked in surprise as the boy stood behind Jesse, fists clenched. Tazzini rushed in after him, breathing hard. Her presence shifted the air, her back straight despite her exhaustion, her stare sharp enough to cut stone. Scarlip barked a harsh laugh. Well, ain't this a reunion? Jesse fired a warning shot that shattered a bottle behind the man's head. I said drop him. The gunman hesitated, exchanging glances. One lifted his rifle, just a fraction. Tazzini stepped forward. Your fight is with me, she said quietly. No, Jesse countered without taking his eyes off the man. It's with them. He saw the flick of a wrist, the start of draw, and fired first. His bullet hit the ground inches from their boots, sending dirt flying. The message was unmistakable. Weapons clattered to the floor. Jesse kicked them out of reach. On your knees. Hands behind your head. The men complied, muttering curses. Tazzini stood over them, breathing unevenly. She didn't speak right away, simply stared. The fire's light danced across her face, revealing exhaustion, fury, and something deeper. Resolve forged through suffering. You left me to die, she said finally. Scarlip tried to look away, but she stepped closer. My people do not harm you, she continued. We share this land together, but you chose cruelty. One of the men swallowed hard. Another shifted uncomfortably under her gaze. Tazzini crouched slowly, her son beside her. My boy will remember this day, she said. Not your faces, your choices. And he will grow up knowing you did not break us. Little Hawk's chin lifted with solemn pride. Jesse tied the men with their own ropes. The sheriff in silver, Mesa will take them, he said. He's a decent man. They'll stand trial. Tazzini rose and nodded. Good. Justice from your people, not vengeance for mine. They marched the men out of the ruins as the sky deepened into dusk. The wind grew cooler at last, brushing away the scorching memory of the afternoon. When they reached Jesse's horse, he signaled Tazzini to sit and rest while he secured the captives. Little Hawk approached Jesse quietly. Thank you for saving her. Jesse knelt to meet his eyes. You saved her too. You came for help. That took courage. The boy smiled faintly. Tazzini watched them, her expression softening. Cowboy, she said, our paths crossed in darkness today, but you brought light. My family will not forget. Jesse tipped his hat, just doing what's right. As the first stars emerged in the cooling sky, the unlikely group began the long walk towards safety. Jesse leading his mare, Tazzini riding with her son held close, and the captured men trailing behind under a setting sun that no longer burned with threat, but glowed with the promise of justice. And on that vast, open land where cruelty had tried to break a mother, hope walked beside them instead.